Welcome back to Synergy Bonus. Three guys like to sit around, drink, and talk about games. Tonight, we're kicking off Spooky Month with a little bit of tabletop horror. We're returning to Deadlands, to Coffin Rock, the very first module published for Deadlands Reloaded. Jumping Off Point, written by Sean Michael Fish, originally published in 2008 as their kickoff with Pinnacle Entertainment, and again, Reloaded, which is functionally their third edition. And as we said, it's published by Pinnacle Entertainment. You can find it on their website pretty easily, or drive through RPG. So this is their introductory inaugural adventure, where your player characters, once you've decided on which Wild West archetypes you'd like to portray, find themselves in a small copper mining boomtown, actually a fairly medium-sized copper mining boomtown, in the
Colorado.
Out in Colorado, in the wild parts of that. The aptly named Coffin Rock, named for the Coffin Rock
Not at all
megalith structure that's hanging over the town.
Not at all what I was expecting the town to look like. I was expecting the standard, Wild West town with like one main strip.
Nope, I've seen this map a few times because I kept inquiring. But
Yep. It is kind of a sandboxy game. Somebody in the forums over at Pinnacle Entertainment described it as a setting in which the players can knock on any door in town and find an adventure.
we did.
Yes. And you still missed some.
And we were also just psychotic murder hobos.
It's kind of sandboxy because you plunk the PCs down, and once they arrive in town, they can pretty much go anywhere and pick up on clues that hopefully point them in the right direction. There's a lot of stuff that's really heavily detailed in the 30 pages of this thing, and a lot of stuff that's really left up to the marshal or game master's attention or imagination.
And there's also a lot of little fluff descriptions that'll pop up that the players will completely ignore.
Yep. And
like all the reflections in the glass.
Well, not necessarily. Like, one of our teammates really picked up on that. And
it is a marvelous tool for showing how the progression of fear levels works. Yes, the town is rapidly being turned by the Reckoners, this series and settings version of the Dark Powers, into an honest-to-goodness Deadland, hell on earth. And the longer your player characters hang out and don't do anything or
Do bad shit,
the faster this accelerates. So, like, the hotel that you wind up in, it starts out kind of creepy, but otherwise fairly normal. And if they dick around too much, it turns into a full-blown haunted hotel with, like, bleeding walls and shit.
Now, the one thing I have to bring up, and this is just a matter of personal weirdness, do not tell me that you came up with pyrite.
Pyrite was an original creation.
So it's not in the book.
Not in the book.
Well, thank you for joining us for Synergy Bonus. If you don't mind, I'm about to murder Trav.
There's a bordello as one of the buildings that you can get into there, and it's called the Jewel Theater. And I hit on the idea, because none of the girls in the theater are actually named, of naming them after jewels and precious gemstones. And given how Thrict feels about Bridget's, I naturally had to throw in Fool's Gold.
On the upside, nothing happened with Sarek Bob. However, feel bad for Jordan character.
Yeah. Bushrod had a few.
Bush's rod might be in a bush.
something. I'm looking at this now, and like you said, there are just so many things that we didn't pick up on. I don't think we even visited the barber. I mean,
you didn't go to the barber's house. You didn't go. Aside from when I teleported Ryan's character into the newspaper office at the end, or like at the climax, and it was like, wait, there's a newspaper office in town.
There's a barber.
Yep. And there's like. Nobody bothered to go to the claims office, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes down there. And
we were busy hunting bounties.
Hunting bounties out in the hills, which is part of the module. Actually, that I didn't make up.
Good thing we didn't kill the bitches.
Yeah.
What would have happened if we did?
If you did, they're just kind of out of the story. They're not relevant. But before you do, you actually encounter them being attacked by the mud monsters, and you have the option of saving them and trying to collect the bounties, or letting the mud monsters do the work for you.
So what's the overarching plot of this?
The overarching plot, and this is where like the heavy duty spoilers are going to kick in. So
Yeah, so spoiler.
yeah, if you're going to be playing this, yeah. But for all you dungeon masters and marshals who stuck around, the overarching plot is that there's this preacher, Reverend. What was his name again?
I don't know. We killed him too fast.
Yeah, you killed him in your
We
first
shot him in the face.
Reverend Cheval. And the first thing you know about Reverend Cheval, he's not a real reverend. He's not a priest. He's not a holy man at all. He's an escaped lunatic from New Orleans. Nolans. Which, again, you killed him before I got to whip out that accent.
Well, that's because I got the card for catching him monologuing, and then we shot him.
Yeah. And he thinks he hears the voice of one of the archangels revealing unto him the secret of eternal life. It's actually a Manitou named Apak.
I mean, technically, once you're a mud man, as long as no one destroys you...
Well, that's something entirely different.
Oh.
He's got like some rapture nonsense going on, and he's pulled a cult together around him, and they're the brotherhood that you encountered a few times. And they migrated to this dying boomtown, and their presence there as a religious pilgrimage site for Western yokels who think that their brand of preaching is a little bit more palatable than the stuff that's going on in the city of Lost Angels in the South, actually revitalizes the town somewhat. But after and they're like the supernatural threat. There's also plenty of just regular old mortal assholery going on.
Archer Mayhem.
Archer Mayhem is actually sort of a side thing. Like
the Marshal.
He became much bigger than he really was supposed to be because you guys kind of worked with that. And if I hadn't been trying to finish it, I had a whole thing planned out with his hideout. I'd researched like the lava hideout down in New Mexico. It's like Union Jack's fortress or something like that. The catalyst for everything that's going on in town is the asshole sheriff or Marshal Brees.
The one that we killed in one turn with someone rolling a crit.
Yep. Rolling a crit while fanning the hammer.
And monologuing.
He's the one that murdered the town's founder and burned down the mansion and then framed a hapless prospector and hung him as a murderer and arsonist so that he could steal all of the deeds to town. His original plan had been to sell him off, and then he realized the town wasn't doing well enough, so instead he just set himself up as half owner of everything in town.
Ergo, the protection racket.
So the protection racket wasn't that. He's legitimately half owner of everything in town, except it's not legitimate at all. If you took the time to go investigate the mayor's office, you'd see that the will of
we blew up.
Yeah, the will of John DeLay, not the mayor's office, not the marshal's office.
We went in there and grabbed
Molotovs.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we blew up way too many buildings.
The mayor himself knows. He just never gets sober enough to tell you. Everything should have gone to Shelley, and that's why he set up Shelley as a bounty in the hills, wanted dead.
Made sense.
So because she's the legitimate heir. And as he's going around, he went and he tried to intimidate the preacher, and the preacher, being an escaped lunatic, intimidated back. And
succeeded.
They struck a deal because the lunatic preacher had a brilliant idea. Those who were sinful and weren't going to make the ascension into eternal life could still be made useful. Undead slave labor in the mines.
The Mudmen.
And that's where the Mudmen came from after they bound the Earth Spirit, which was also what caused all the copper veins to dry up. And that's where all the imprisoned souls came from in the mine.
And they're going all the glass and reflective surfaces.
There's a mechanic in there, if anybody had taken the time to talk to the ghosts, where you can actually convince them to accompany you. You just have to break a seal to get them into the final chamber there. And once they are there, they bond with their old undead bodies, which causes them to lose like all of their damage resistances and their wild card status and turns them into regular mooks.
We just blew them up.
Yeah. You just threw a lot of dynamite at him.
I mean, to be fair, explosives is a very valid
Explosives
solution.
and shotguns at close range. I mean,
It's all right, Bob. No, it's all right, Bob. A lot.
So that's
Shotgun.
That's one of my hang-ups with Coffin Rock, is it really expects your players to play at least lip service to the law.
We're in Frontier. We're all 2 towns away.
wild and untamed, and we became the law.
We shot sheriff, and we become deputies.
But like, there's a thing that triggers right around the time the fear level hits 3, where John DeLay's corpse gets up and starts walking around, and all he does, unless you attack him, is get up, walk to his mansion, and sort of like go through a parody of his daily life in the burned out ashen ruins. Hence the ashes on his boots when you investigated. And if you follow him back to the cemetery, the sheriff and his deputies, the marshal and his deputies, are sitting there lying in wait with an ambush where like snipers on top of the mausoleum and stuff.
So
We had a balance. We had a
point.
balancing act of, and we lowered the fear level,
And
then we raised it back up by being
They
assholes.
took care of all the supernatural threats,
And then we were just random
and
dicks.
then they were dicks, or Bushrod failed his oratory roles after they made him the new marshal.
And just sent the town into a panic.
I'm the new marshal. Don't worry. I'm only going to shoot you if you give me a reason. And now the town is worried.
And just stuff like that. You got the schoolhouse adventure with the little girl's ghost is meant to be more of a background thing. You guys sort of dove into it.
We didn't delve into it.
Well,
I mean,
Adrian.
It was me and Adria.
Yeah. It's supposed to be one of those things you don't pick up on right away. The schoolhouse is haunted. People avoid it, and then as the fear level gets higher, the little girl, who is unnamed, by the way, gets stronger and starts killing people in the streets, which accelerates the fear level. And so everything about this is about
Disaster dominoes.
disaster dominoes and freaking out the townspeople.
so essentially what we did was sort of right where like we kind of picked something, took care of it.
Yep.
And
We would zone in on one target, deal with it, and then move on to the next.
If you guys, or if Jefferson hadn't taken care of the dry goods store when he did, that mold gets out and spreads to the town, and just everybody gets sick, and it becomes a plague. It just happened. He went in there looking for dynamite and took care of it. And it's also like your first big hint that something's not right with the church, with the cursed crucifix and so on.
I don't think we ever picked up on that.
No,
we
we
picked
didn't.
up on the copper
Yeah.
reflections were odd, plus the stained glass.
And the reflections and all that are actually the Bounder's spirit calling out for help. Another thing you guys never found was if you went up to investigate Coffin Rock itself, that's why you were seeing its reflection and shadows and so on, and why Ryan was having nightmares about it. There's an Indian shaman up there trying to get your attention.
He did a bad job, apparently.
He might as well have been doing smoke signals for all weekend.
Yeah, well, you guys kept managing to avoid all of the triggering events.
So there's still an Indian shaman up there trying to commune with everyone. We're just like, yeah, we murdered everyone who was a problem.
And he's kind of a dick, but he gives you a huge info dump and just explains what's going on. As long as you can handle the peyote. If you can't, he kicks you out of his kikva and mocks you endlessly.
Hey, nothing wrong with peyote.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that going on. The girls at the Jewel Theater there start out as simply, whores, but as the fear level rises, they start robbing the patrons. Then they start robbing the patrons and leaving them in their skivvies in the graveyard, which raises the fear level because that's where people start seeing John DeLay get up and walk around.
Jesus.
And then they just go straight up murdering their customers.
Then they turn to murdering, and then they turn into cannibalism with the mistress, who didn't come up nearly as often as she was supposed to, turning into a full-on supernatural ghoul. Like using the.
What was the highest supernatural or the fear level we got up to?
You guys got up to 4. Which
What was the
dangerous.
town starting?
It starts at 2,
But what did we end at?
3.
So we kind of normalized because we had that whole thing of something bad happens, we murder people.
And then bad.
Something bad happens,
Oh
we
crap!
murder
This guy
people.
this way. And
And
then,
you kept just
Something bad
dancing
happens, we murdered the wrong people.
Yeah, you kept just dancing on that line of the really spooky supernatural stuff is going to start. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Wait, maybe tonight? Nope. Just a tip? No.
Real quick, because
It's about to happen. We're gonna murder it.
Because we took out the priest so quick, the deacon
why
didn't
the deacon-
exist.
No, the deacon exists.
Oh,
He's
the
in there.
deacon. Okay.
Okay, it wasn't just Trav shoehorning us in.
Yeah. No. The deacon does exist, but he's like the PR guy. He's not supposed to be the big bad.
So
But because we took out the big bad
priest
early
was
on,
supposed to be the one leading.
What the priest is supposed to do is he's supposed to get up. He's supposed to monologue while you guys handle the mudmen, and then he
I'm
actually.
not sorry.
Yeah, then he dives into the portal in the boiling mud, and after you have dealt with the mudmen, you're supposed to follow him. He's doing the ritual. That's why you lose, an hour or so when you go through the portal. And if he finishes the ritual, 5 rounds of combat, which doesn't seem like much, but it's actually
So it's quick.
a pretty tall order in Deadlands and Savage Worlds to get to 5 rounds and make combat last that long.
Because shotguns.
Especially when you guys were prepared and the cultists are all just carrying stylized copper daggers.
Shotguns.
Yes.
Molotov.
And that's
Molotovs.
where it's actually supposed to be a two-pronged thing. The preacher, Reverend Cheval, is supposed to be doing the ritual. The cultists are supposed to be cannon fodder who stand in front, while the deacon is the casting long-range thing who's sitting back there flicking fireballs and stuff at you.
We killed the ad first, essentially.
Basically. And if they get to round 5, they summon an honest-to-God challenge rating 10 demon.
Shotguns don't work at that point.
No, it has immunity to physical damage.
But they were blessed shotgun.
Okay. So that turns it to resistance.
It's not like Bob, not like this.
Yeah. It's a scenario where,
The party fucked up.
if it gets to round 5, the party fucked up.
Coffin Rock is doomed.
Yeah, because it gets out, and the minute somebody spots an honest-to-God archetypical demon in town...
Like goat hooves, goat horns.
It's less a goat demon and more a medieval, like, French gargoyle demon.
Okay.
But it immediately just snaps the fear level up to 5. There's no save, there's no resistance. And after 5 is 6, which is a full-on Deadland.
Yeesh.
Now it does, once it's bloodied, try to run away. Because demons don't have souls, so if it dies, that's it.
However, we just prevented it from
You
being
prevented it from
summoned.
being summoned, which is kind of what you're supposed to do. And as we established, once you do that, everything starts to slowly go back to normal. The Earth Spirit is grateful, so he makes sure that there's more copper found on the mountain and so on. And it really just gives you guys a base of operations to work out of, because Coffin Rock
Is now Boomtown
is
again.
now Boomtown again. But also, if we had the map from the core book here, and maybe we could throw it up here a second, it shows up on the map, and it's very central to everything that's happening in the Weird West here.
Because Colorado, you got Dakotas,
Yep.
you
And it's
got
got,
Nevada.
It's very close to several railroads, and if you play some of the Rail War modules, they actually run a railroad through town because it's a boomtown. It's an important place. They need to ship out the copper, and so it grows over time in the metaplot as long as you didn't let it become a Deadland.
So, if we were ever to run this game again, our party stands to profit massively.
It's true.
It's very true, as you did a whole bunch of good terms, and Bushrod did wind up from a gambling scenario with a deed to one of the smaller mines.
Yeah, and also we were sworn as law.
Yeah, if you decide to stay on as marshal, yeah, that's mostly Bushrod with that. The rest of you were
Deputies.
deputized, and that
Posse comitatus.
yeah, and your wages in universe and historically are whatever Bushrod gives you.
Right.
But I mean, you still have some things to do, like you guys have the bounty to collect for the
For everyone.
Archer Mayhan's game in Kansas.
Yeah.
Where they,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And so on. So like, there's opportunities for things like that.
And there's also the opportunity just for random dickery with the cards playing up. Like, at one point, I actually drew the card for he's coming back as a revenant.
Yep. What is it? Quick Burial is the adventure card he's talking about. And where you kind of intended to play that on a party member, this douchebag played it on the dead Marshal. which is like, okay, recurring villain and nemesis. Awesome. I did this whole write-up where, like, because he was killed with a shotgun, or not with a shotgun blast, but with, like, gunfire in the chest with the fanning all that, there was this big gaping wound over his heart that was sort of shaped like a sheriff's star in the flesh. And, yeah, they just smoked him in the next session.
So,
although it was kind of nice, like, when he came back out. It's like, oh, it's that guy. Just get
he
him.
wants a reckoning.
That was exactly it. And
Hi, fake Marshall.
yeah.
Enemy who died in one turn came back to be a big horror monster. Died in one turn.
Which is still impressive in and of itself because, you know, this is a module that's geared towards... Savage Worlds doesn't have, like, level 1, 2, and 3. It's meant for novice or rookie characters, like, just starting out. So you guys don't have all of the skills and abilities and edges that you might have at later levels.
We were intermediary, I think, by the time we finished.
You finished at seasoned is the next step there. So if we do pick this up again, all of your characters will be a little bit
hardier,
bigger, a little bit hardier, and you'll have some more tricks up your sleeves.
Well, I guess I'm going to take this here. I really liked it. I would recommend this.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It does require the marshal to be able to think on his feet or her feet very quickly. There's a lot of stuff that's described in great detail and a lot of stuff that gets like a 3-sentence blurb. That's an interesting hook that doesn't go anywhere.
The 3-sentence blurb stuff will come up more often than the great detail.
Yep.
As an experienced GM.
Would you recommend this?
Yes, it was fun.
I would strongly recommend it for people who are just starting out in Deadlands who want to get a feel for how things like horror or fear levels work, and you know, demons and the reckoners. And
also, just contingency encounters.
I would recommend that if you're going to be prepping for this, you have a few of the Pinnacle Entertainment one-sheets on hand for filler for when they're exploring the wilderness around town. Prepare to be running this for several months.
One thing that I wish he would have done for us is at least give us the map of Coffin Rock.
Because I'm literally thinking the entire game, it is the cliche Wild West. Here's the main street. It's the main drag. You're going to have a showdown at high noon. Everyone's standing there. Like, what do you mean there's like 4 blocks?
I couldn't find a PDF that would print that wasn't corrupted.
That's unfortunate.
That's one of the problems. That's one of the drawbacks to this. Is aside from the book itself, there's not a lot of resources out there for Coffin Rock.
That's because they're doing another edition of Deadlands already.
Yep.
I will say though, the price
already,
is...
It's 2008. It's been 10 years.
Yeah. The price is $15.
Yeah, it's a bit steep when it came out, but thanks to inflation, it's not too
Also,
bad.
drive-through RPG.
That's where we got that for $15.
I was just thinking like print-on-demand version.
And I gotta say, the quality of this is pretty damn good.
I mean, it's nice gloss.
The artwork is really nice where it is, although a lot of it's pretty generic Western horror. There's very few things in there that are... there's some of the girls. There's very few things in there that are going to be actual, weird Westerns with monsters and so on. That was the Marshal's torture chair. This was really a letdown. This is the big final confrontation. Here's stats for the Reverend. Here's stats for the cultist. Here's stats for the demon. If you want the deacon, he's like 4 pages back. There's no map.
But I picture a standard church.
Yeah,
so like
there's no map here. There's no map for the confrontation at the burning pool of lava, blood stuff down there where the mudmen were being made.
So basically, it's lacking some maps that would be helpful.
Yeah,
some maps.
There are contingencies.
There are a lot of homebrewed maps out there that were really good, and that's what I used to draw the combat map that we use.
So yeah.
All in all,
Coffin
it was
Rock.
still a fun module. It's not that expensive, and hey, if you're into Deadlands,
it's a great starting off point.
It's
if you're
true.
into Deadlands, if you want to get your friends into Deadlands,
if you want to do something new,
if you're not quite sure how Deadlands works, this is it.
Yeah. And I think with that, good night. Good gaming. Hey, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed what you saw.
Let us know. Give us a like and a comment down below.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to make sure you get all notifications from us.
And as always,
Good night.
and good gaming.